rounding third, he had the ball well in his hand. I was like, might as well go run through him. So my mom was like, you done.
No, I was screaming, slide! 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 The pole behind catches.
We knew I was going to play football after that. Well, this is my family. This is my grandmother Mary. This is my other grandmother Gwen. This is my mom Monica, my stepdad Terrence, my nephew Braden, my sister-in-law Becca, my brother Paul, and my other brother Darius. We're gonna be the only one. We're gonna be the only one with a blooper reel. Family is literally everything to us. So I know I wouldn't be in this position without everybody in this room and countless others. So when I get the opportunity to talk about my family, spend time with my family, and kind of let Mountaineer Nation kind of see what my family is, it's always awesome.
Cortney was probably about 7-ish, 7 or 8, and he had this huge fascination with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So from afar, he sees Zach, who was the Black Ranger. And this boy goes up, he was like, "Mama, it's Zach the Black Ranger." And he just bust out crying. He just cried. He was so in awe of Zach the Black Ranger.
If you really, they're Earth's mightiest heroes. Like,
I'll never forget, he came up to the house. He was about 3 years old. I always gave him a little sack to go home with little goodies in it. So when he got ready to go, he said, "Grandmama Gwen, my mama like apples." And he said, "Can I take my mama apple?" I said, "Yes, you can." So I fixed a little sack for him to take them, and that smile all over, oh, he just smiled, the biggest smile.
I'll never forget when, at that time, it was Atari was big for kids to be playing, and Cortney was just like ahead of the curve with all the other kids. I came in his room and he was in there real quiet. I said, "Cortney, what are you doing?" He said, "Look, Daddy T, I got these plays I drawn out." I'm like, he was like 4th, 5th grade. I'm like, whoa, what is this?
Me and Cortney was going back and forth. I was 18, full of testosterone, telling Cortney, "Yeah, we're gonna win." He's like, "No, y'all, your teams, y'all are gonna get out coached." I believe my first carry of the game, it was for about 13 yards up the middle. Next thing I know, it was kind of muddy that night. Somehow somebody tackled me, they twisted my ankle. Yeah.
I don't know if that first carry was 13 yards.
I think it was like
that's a little bit generous.
7.5.
13 yards?
I think it was about 7.5, so yeah.
This is what it was like growing up. This is what it was like.
It's nice to see him, and you know, he's come a long way. He's grown up. But all 3 of them really have, you know. Of course I'm biased because they my babies.
I said, "Oh, you could have done this, you would have been that." And he goes, "But Mom," he said, "I love coaching way more than I ever loved playing." And I knew then, I was like, this is what he's gonna do.
I didn't love anything else, and I watched my mom as we were kids work tirelessly and work these awful jobs that she probably didn't like very much, just so we could have opportunity. And so when I found something that I loved and I was passionate about, I wanted to make sure I stuck with it. And once I got into it, I was obsessed with it. The first spring practice, I walked down to the end zone where the new facility's going up, and I'm staring up, and I'm looking up at Howard's Knob, and I'm looking at the building going up, and I'm looking off, and all of a sudden I feel a hand come over my shoulder, and I turn around as Coach Jones. He says, "Man, did you ever think you would be here?" And I just, you know, I was ready to weep because I never, ever did. And so, man, it's surreal to watch our guys practice and watch our guys perform. There's no other place in the country like this. There's not. You know, if I'm completely honest, my playing career didn't go the way I wanted it to. You know, I went to Liberty and I flunked out, and I went back home and piddled around, had this amazing son, and that part was great. But in my professional life, I was just kind of spinning wheels and didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had somebody that I really respected a lot and I cared about put his arm around me and said, "You got to go back to school. You got to get your degree. You can be really good. You can make a career out of this." And so I became obsessed with it, and I quit my job. I went back to school full time. I didn't know how I was going to make ends meet. There was times where I'm studying by candlelight, making decisions like, hey, do I want to pay my electric bill or I want to get groceries? And I'm studying by candlelight, eating beans from a can, trying to make sure I get a good grade on this exam. And I just became obsessed with it. I go from flunking out to finishing my undergraduate with a 3.7 and then get my master's degree. And for me, it wasn't an option. Like, vacation wasn't an option. Hanging out with my friends wasn't an option. Staying up late and watching TV and playing video games, those things weren't options. The only option for me was to do whatever was necessary to be as successful as I could because now I had a tiny human that was dependent on me. October 28th, back in 2015, I got in my car and I drove up to Boone for the first time and got to spend time with Coach Jones. And I remember one time he called me on a Friday at 8 o'clock. He said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm teaching U.S. history. Like, what are you doing?" And he was like, "I got some time this afternoon. You want to talk some ball?" So I ran into my principal, finished my class. I said, "Hey, I've got to go and talk some football. I got to have this opportunity." He's like, "Man, get out of here." Spent about 3 hours with Coach Jones talking about football, then drove all the way back and taught the next day. And every time I came here, I went back better than when I arrived. My whole thing was like, if I want to build a championship program, they got to see what championship programs look like. People say, well, you know, at Chattanooga Central, you can't have those things because you don't have enough money. Well, like, why can't we have enough money? Well, you don't fundraise enough money. Well, how can we fundraise? And so immediately we went into it and we did a complete locker room renovation, did all the graphics, and we got the shirts. And I was like, today I give my all for Chattanooga Central. I saw that on a Nike shirt Coach Jones had on. And I was like, I want that shirt. You know, I really want that shirt, and I got one now. I'll wear it as much as I possibly can, but I wanted my kids to have that because the Appalachian State culture, we brought that back to Chattanooga with us. Every day I wanted to coach just like that because I didn't want to call Dale Jones and tell him I didn't do a good job that day. You know, I thought I got to my hometown. I was coaching in my hometown high school at a program that had a tradition of winning and was really, really successful. So I thought I had arrived, and just when you think you do, it's amazing how God works, and all of a sudden you're doing something else. And you know, I got to Louisville and was able to be under the mentorship of Coach Satterfield and Coach Brown, and I'm always in awe of those guys, and I never see myself kind of in that category with Brian Brown and Nate Woody and Scott Satterfield and Dale Jones. I never thought of myself as that because those guys are at the pinnacle. They're the it for me. And in my mind, I'm still that same poor kid from Northwest Georgia without a dollar to his name that's just grinding, trying to make it. And so going from being a college flunk out to having 2 degrees and a master's degrees, and going from coaching a team that was second worst record in the state of Tennessee over the course of 2 years to being at one of the top 20 football programs in America. I mean, I'm blessed, and I don't deserve it, and I just attribute it to having a great support system and great people around me. Every day when I wake up and I go to work, every day that I go in that office and I see, it's hard not to get emotional about it, but when I see Cortney Braswell in that door and I see the Mountaineer logo, it's everything to me. It's everything to me.